On April 16, 2024, the Governor of Maine eliminated the PFAS reporting requirement that was originally slotted for January 1, 2025. Maine's PFAS Act was originally published on July of 2021, and it implemented new notification obligations and restrictions. The new effective date for the restrictions is January 1, 2032. So, by the beginning of 2032, no person may sell, offer for sale, or distribute for sale in Maine any product that contains intentionally added PFAS. Producers must notify the Maine Department of Environmental Protection, or DEP, of any product containing intentionally added PFAS that is sold in the state of Maine, unless the DEP has determined that the use of PFAS in the product is a currently unavoidable use. And because companies can't really control when they're importing product into the United States, the logistics on a state-by-state basis, this becomes applicable to just about anybody who sells products in the United States by default. So, the original reporting requirement is out, and instead we now have a general prohibition of intentionally added PFAS starting January 1st, 2032. So, companies will not be able to sell any product containing intentionally added PFAS in the state of Maine unless exempted due to either an unavoidable use exemption granted by the DEP or due to product category exemption. Now, what does unavoidable use mean? Here's the definition outlined by the state of Maine. Currently, unavoidable use means a use of PFAS that the department has determined to be essential for health, safety, or the functioning of society, and for which alternatives are not reasonably available. Essential for health, safety, or the functioning of society refers to the use of a PFAS in a product when the function provided by the PFAS is necessary for the product to perform as intended, such that the unavailability of the PFAS would cause the product to be unavailable, which would result in either a significant increase in negative health outcomes, an inability to mitigate risks to human health or the environment, or a significant disruption of the daily functions of society. Products that have been granted an unavoidable use determination are exempt from the 2032 prohibition requirement for a period of 5 years. However, the notification obligations are still in place for these products. The manufacturer will still have to submit a written notification to the DEP about their intentionally added PFAS. Now, these reports that need to be submitted at a minimum require a brief description of the product you're selling and the purpose of the PFAS in the product. The amount of PFAS needs to be disclosed, as well as the identity, the CAS number. If there's no CAS number, then identify it the best way you can. And you have to provide identification of the specific unavoidable use determination. And you also have to provide your contact information so that the Maine Department of Environmental Protection can follow up with you if they need to. Companies with less than 100 employees are exempt from the reporting requirements. This number was increased from the original limit of 25 employees. Packaging is not in scope unless the product itself is packaging. So if you sell a computer in Maine and that computer has PFAS, you need to report that. But if it's just the packaging that has PFAS, you don't have to report that. In order to make this notification to the DEP, you need to submit that to an online database, and DEP is currently working with IC2 to develop such a reporting system, but the system is not currently yet in place, which means there is no system to make the submission yet. However, regardless of whether the system is available to make this submission or not, your obligation to notify is still there. So what that means is that if you need to make a submission and they have not yet made the portal available, then you need to make your submission through email using the email address shown here, and you can submit that using any commonly available software format, so PDF, Microsoft Word, etc. Certain product categories have different prohibition deadlines than the 2032 deadline that we've been talking about. The sale of all of these products, if they contain PFAS, will be prohibited by these deadlines unless the DEP has granted unavoidable use exemptions. Additionally, these categories of products are exempted from the prohibition completely and may continue to use intentionally added PFAS. And also, any equipment used to produce these products are all exempt as well. So, how does this new Maine amendment impact manufacturers? It's important to remember that there are still many other PFAS requirements manufacturers will need to contend with, such as TSCA Section 8A7 PFAS reporting requirements, the proposed PFAS ban in the EU, the IEC and OECD PFAS reference lists, and the state of Minnesota's PFAS reporting requirements and restrictions. So, even if you qualify for an exemption for Maine's regulation, you may still be subject to and need to prepare for one of these other PFAS requirements. Watch the full-length video and gain access to our full archive of educational webinars at greensofttech.com/videos. And while you're there, learn about our premier solutions for environmental regulation compliance.